New developments in the Russia investigation tonight, raising more questions about whether Russian intelligence felt they had Donald Trump, the candidate, over a barrel. That's a quote. And why? And a new poll out tonight may not be cheering up the president either. Even as President Trump continues to rail against the Justice Department.
People are angry. People are angry.
He often focuses much of his fire on a favorite new target.
I think Bruce Orr is a disgrace.
Bruce Orr is the career Justice Department official who met with Christopher Steele, a former British spy who compiled the now infamous Dossier. Orr testifying to a congressional committee this week that Steele told him at a July 2016 breakfast that Russian intelligence believed they had then candidate Donald Trump, quote, over a barrel, end quote, according to a source familiar with the testimony.
What Bruce Orr meant is that the Russians had information that would compromise Donald Trump, that they could leverage Donald Trump.
The over a barrel claim is reportedly in line with the allegations Steele included in his dossier. California Democrats are sensing blood in the water.
We have always been concerned. Why is the president so kowtowing to Putin? Why is he always saying Putin is the best or saying something positive?
Congressman Ted Lieu is calling on Republican committee chairs to hold a public hearing where Bruce Orr can explain and answer questions about this so the American people can understand what his assertion means. This potentially new angle on the Russia investigation comes on the same day that President Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, is hatching a backup plan. Giuliani told CNN his legal team's putting together a report to attack a number of possible findings from special counsel Robert Mueller. His strategy is dull the blow of whatever Mueller makes public.
I'll be here with my version of the report, and they'll have their version of the report. And the American people, in that sense, are going to decide it.
And with the midterm elections looming in just over 2 months, Giuliani declared the special counsel needs to wrap it up quickly, as he told Fox News.
If it isn't over by September, then we have a very, very serious violation of the Justice Department rules that you shouldn't be conducting one of these investigations in the 60-day period.
It is customary for Justice Department prosecutors to go quiet for 60 days before an election. But it's up to the U.S. attorneys to ensure they don't take overt investigative steps that could impact an election. Nonetheless, a new Washington Post ABC poll just out shows that 63% of Americans support special counsel Mueller's Russia investigation of President Trump and his associates, while 29% oppose it. The country is much more divided on whether the president should be impeached. Yet more Americans say in that poll they want Congress to begin impeachment proceedings, 49%, than those who oppose it, 46%. But perhaps most upsetting to President Trump in this poll is his job approval numbers, with 60% of those polled disapproving of the job he's doing, the highest number in this poll since Mr. Trump took office. Only 36% of those polled say the president is doing a good job. Now, tonight, in the midst of a Twitter storm, President Trump trashed the Washington Post ABC poll we just saw, charging that it was by far the, quote, least accurate poll 2 weeks out from the 2016 election, so why should it be trusted now? The president tweeted that a new Rasmussen poll, which just came out as well, gives him 48% on job approval, much higher than the Washington Post poll, despite what he said the constant and intense fake news. Rasmussen, the president pointed out, was one of the most accurate Election Day polls in 2016. So the bottom line, Juan, is there seems to be a poll right now for everyone.
Indeed there is.